Concerns over the deadly outbreak at the Holyoke Soldiers Home reached Capitol Hill today. Good Wednesday evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Western Mass News at 6. I'm Chris Pisano. The House of Representatives Committee on Veterans Affairs heard testimony from a former superintendent of the home. Paul Barabani and Congressman Richard Neal held a media phone call after today's hearing. Western Mass News reporter Sarah Granelli listened in, and she has the details. Sarah?
Chris, this comes as one resident who recovered from the coronavirus just recently tested positive yet again earlier this week. And now the former superintendent says he is worried about another outbreak inside the home. A former superintendent of the Holyoke Soldiers Home speaking out Wednesday after testifying before the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Veterans Affairs about the coronavirus outbreak at the home earlier this year.
And so there are many factors that influenced the outcome at the Soldiers Home. And some of them are beyond the control of the staff.
Paul Barabani served as the superintendent nearly a decade ago. He says a big issue contributing to the death of dozens of veteran residents was the lack of preparation.
Once that virus was in there, it's going to be very difficult to contain it. We can do it in certain populations, but especially in the dementia units, it's very challenging. In the way the rooms are designed, that I think there's 4, maybe 5 beds in a room.
He tells Western Mass News another issue was the amount of part-time staff coming to and from the facility.
I mean, who brings the virus in? The Soldiers Home in Holyoke has an incredible number of their staff as being part-time staff. And I looked at the comparison of Holyoke and Chelsea, and I also have New Hampshire.
He says nearly 150 employees were part-time.
Holyoke had 215 full-time people and 148 part-time employees. Now, that's a lot of part-time employees. Now, a part-time employee most often works at another facility doing a similar job.
Barabani says staffing has always been an issue at the home, and he says when he left, he knew something was going to go wrong. Live in Holyoke, I'm Sarah Granelli for Western Mass News.
Sarah, thank you for that live report. By now, you've probably seen warning signs all over social media about people across the country receiving packets of mysterious seeds through the mail that they did not order. Western Mass News has learned at least 2 local residents received these seeds, which agricultural officials are urging people not to plant. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo spoke exclusively with a Shutesbury woman about the package she received containing these strange seeds.
Avid gardener Kay Parsons says she was thrown for a loop when a mystery packet of seeds arrived at her Shutesbury home.
Inside, there was a small package of seeds, and there's a little sticker on it that said made in China, but it didn't say what the seeds were.
She didn't order them, and sprinkling in confusion, Parsons says the label on the outside package didn't match its contents.
It said earrings, which they definitely weren't.
Parsons says seeds of doubt sprouting more quickly than whatever was in the packet.
I put a lot of care and a lot of tending into my gardens, and so wasn't going to plant something if I didn't know what it was.
Parsons tells Western Mass News the sender is listed as HH, and the package appears to come from China. She says she reached out to the Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources about the seeds she couldn't identify.
They confirmed and reiterated, don't plant them, save them in case we need them for anything.
Now state and federal officials are warning people, if you get these seeds in the mail, don't plant them. In fact, they're actually telling people to save them in the plastic that they came in.
I'm really glad that my gut and my intuition said don't plant these.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture says they're collecting the packets and testing them to determine whether or not they could be harmful to our ecosystems. For now, the USDA believes this isn't a planting scheme, but a brushing scam, where people receive unsolicited items from a seller who then posts false customer reviews to boost sales. But it doesn't answer the question germinating in everyone's mind. What are these seeds? We showed the picture of Parsons seeds to Amanda Bayer, a horticulture professor with UMass Amherst Stockbridge School.
It almost looked like a lentil to me.
She says because it's so difficult to tell if a plant has invasive tendencies just by looking at its seeds, federal inspectors may have to plant them to ID them.
They could do it in a very controlled space.
The USDA will have to keep digging to determine whether the sender was trying to reap the benefits of an e-commerce scam or sow something more harmful.
Was this a targeted thing because I'm a gardener? Was it totally random?
Officials have also confirmed that someone in South Hadley received a mystery packet of seeds as well. If you get seeds in the mail, you can go to our website, westernmassnews.com. There we'll have a link to the state's website where you can fill out a form and report the delivery. Reporting for Western Mass News, I'm Audrey Russo.
Thank you, Audrey, for that story. Temperatures rose into the upper 80s and low 90s, officially hitting 91 in Springfield. So we're now at day 5 of our extended heat wave. There is an outside chance that even tomorrow we hit 90 degrees. That would be a 6-day heat wave. It's been a while since we've had something that long. We do have our dew points that are nice and comfortable this afternoon. If dew points are in the mid to low 50s, that's very comfortable air. You also see North Adams starting to see that dew point rising once again. The reason for that, well, they have a few showers in their neighborhood, especially to the north of them, moving on through. And we did earlier, this is paused at 12:30. We had this stray shower that moved right through Holyoke, right into South Hadley. So it wasn't a completely dry day for us here in Western Mass, but now we're tracking some additional showers out towards Binghamton, out towards Syracuse. If you trace these through, we are expecting a couple of raindrops for us as well. And Futurecast kind of picks up on that as we go into this evening. This is 11 o'clock, waking up with some clouds and sunshine, and we're back to full-on sun into noontime. But notice what's also starting to pop up, a few showers, maybe even some storms that we'll have to contend with. But we're back to the full-on sunshine for Friday. You see the blue skies on our satellite or on our Springfield Skycam, back into the middle 60s, a few showers possible, but we're going to clear things out, setting us up for another day that's near 90 degrees, isolated storm into the afternoon possible with a mixture of sun and clouds. Now, we do have a lot to talk about in the extended forecast, including more 90s on the board and a chance for a tropical system to potentially bring some impacts to us. I'll explain in just a few minutes. Chris?
Jacob, thanks. Amid the coronavirus pandemic, the New England Patriots have lost 6 players for the 2020 season. The players deciding to opt out amid COVID-19 concerns. In a span of 48 hours, the Pats have had more players opt out than any other team in the NFL. Western Mass News reporter Kayla Burton joins us live in studio to tell us how it not only affects the team, but also Patriots Nation. Kayla.
Yeah, Chris, absolutely. I mean, fans I spoke with are just devastated, and some even surprised to see the increasing number of Patriots players opt out in such a short span of time. And keep in mind, from a football standpoint, this is even a bigger loss with now former quarterback Tom Brady and teammate Rob Gronkowski gone. Now, throughout the offseason, so much attention surrounding the team focused on Brady's departure. Everyone knew the Patriots would look much different without the quarterback after 20 years. One local Patriots fan tells Western Mass News he's devastated seeing his favorite team losing key players, but he understands they're human too.
It's all about safety. And these guys aren't just players that we just watch and enjoy. They have families as well. So it's what's best for them. And if that involves them leaving for health reasons, stuff like that, we have to live with it.
Does it feel like families? Patriots captain and linebacker Dante Hightower's wife just had a baby on July 16th. And starting safety Patrick Chung's girlfriend is pregnant with a baby girl on the way. Chung says a big part of his decision opting out of the season is to ultimately protect his family from the spread of COVID-19. Now, as for the rest of the team, training camp is still underway. Many players have already tested for COVID-19. Now, no testing will be taking place today. However, more will continue tomorrow and on Friday. Now, coming up later tonight on Western Mass News, we'll have more on how the Patriots are handling the 2020 season. So stay tuned for that. But for now, live in studio, Kayla Burton, Western Mass News.
Kayla, thanks for that live report. And football isn't the only sport on its way back to your TV. The NBA is back on ABC. It all starts Sunday at 3 when our own Boston Celtics take on the Portland Trail Blazers. The action continues later in the evening at 8 when Milwaukee takes on Houston. That's this Sunday on ABC 40. Your home for the NBA Finals and, of course, Western Mass News. New at 6 in Connecticut, a Foxwoods casino employee has tested positive for COVID-19, and the first since the resort reopened back at the beginning of June. Foxwoods executives say the individual has, quote, had minimal contact with guests on a daily basis and is part of a small working group, end quote. They go on to say that those the employee has had prolonged contact with have been notified, tested, and will be quarantined for 14 days, no matter their test results. And for more coverage on the coronavirus emergency as it develops, log on to our free Western Mass News streaming app. Authorities have identified the man killed in an incident in Springfield Saturday night. The Hamden DA's office tells Western Mass News the victim, 41-year-old Jason Moriarty. They say police responded to Worthington Street around 11 p.m. Saturday and found evidence of gunfire. Later that same night, a car crashed on I-91 near exit 9. Officials say the victim had been ejected from the car and appeared to have suffered a gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead on the scene. The incident is still under investigation. Today, union members held a rally at the Stop and Shop on Liberty Street in Springfield. They're fighting to restore hazard pay for employees. When the COVID-19 pandemic first began, Stop and Shop implemented a 10% hazard pay increase for all of its 80,000 plus workers across the country. The hazard pay was extended through July 4th, but it has since ended. Union members say there's still a big risk posed to employees who deserve to have their hazard pay reinstated. Stop and Shop issued a statement to Western Mass News, which reads in part, "We are continuing to take significant steps to keep our associates and customers safe, and will continue to offer our associates a flexible leave policy and additional paid sick leave."